Welcome into Wild Breakaway. I'm Audra Martin, joined by Ben Clymer. It looked as if a 2-goal Minnesota Wild lead would slip away, but instead 2 goals in the third period ends with a 4-3 victory over the visiting Edmonton Oilers. Ben, good to see a rally this time get capped off with a win, unlike we saw a couple nights ago where they came up a bit short.
Well, a exuberant Minnesota Wild team played very well in the first period. Then you started to see the fatigue factor of the second period, mental errors, but playing a youthful Edmonton team, they're able to capitalize on some mistakes that would be uncharacteristic of playoff teams. But nonetheless, to be able to see the resilience of the Minnesota Wild team, great to see them bond together, especially after only a couple nights ago they had a dissimilar fate in a similar game against the Winnipeg Jets.
Here's a look at your final stats from tonight's win. Across the board, a pretty evenly matched game, but again, Minnesota coming up with the 4-3 win to stay perfect 4-0 at home this year. And Ryan Suter picking up his first 2 goals of the season tonight, a huge factor in tonight's game. And Mike Yeo was pleased as ever to see the performance from his alternate captain.
See him get rewarded?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first goal is a perfect example of what we were talking about this morning. So I'm happy to see him get rewarded because I feel that his play has been very strong all year. He's been factoring in, getting a lot of assists, and he's been shooting a lot of pucks. There's been a lot of pucks that I feel that he's been unlucky not to score on just because we've had good net front and the pucks are getting through. Haven't quite got a bounce in those situations, but yeah, real pleased. And both were different, one in the offensive zone, him jumping in, joining the play, and one on the rush.
Up next for the Wild, it's the Stanley Cup champs. The Blackhawks come to town Friday night, and as you expect, that's probably going to be a very heated and exciting matchup.
Well, a great measuring stick game for this team. This is a team that not only has playoff aspirations, but playoff expectations. That's the Chicago Blackhawks. Where the Minnesota Wild fit in that equation, I would say they have aspirations. Is it a lock? Well, not necessarily. If they start to beat teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues the following night, that will start to not only be an expectation, but something they realize this April. Can they continue that in April? Well, you have to beat them this time of the year before you start to know you can beat them in April, May, June. And that's what this team is really forging a path towards.
A great measuring stick, no doubt. We will see you Friday night for that game against the Blackhawks. For now, thanks for joining us on Wild Breakaway.